Hello, hello, hello! Welcome, beloved souls, to today's episode of Wandering Rabbit Trails, a series where we have conversations about things that matter to me and to you. Today, I actually have a comment from someone asking for a topic. Caitlin Tull 4167 said, "I'd love to hear you talk more about executive dysfunction and how you deal with that." So, I'll be talking about executive dysfunction some today, and then about a few other topics I want to bring up. So first of all, let's talk about executive dysfunction, although I need to get this set up. For those of you who don't know, this is quercetin powder, which I take for my allergies, so I will talk about it a little more later, but part of the reason why I do this in the videos is about executive dysfunction. Caitlin also said that they like the 30-minute episode length, which about corresponds with how much time the quercetin takes me, so I think that's also a good reason to continue doing it. I'm gonna move these to give myself more room. Okay. So, what is executive dysfunction? Executive dysfunction is part of ADHD. I haven't done a lot of research to see if it can be part of other things as well, if it's just part of ADHD. But, by the way, when I say ADHD, that also includes ADD. The DCM-5, which is the diagnostic manual for mental illnesses, does not actually specify a difference. It doesn't differentiate between ADD and ADHD. It's the same thing, really. Basically, the only difference is how you present your symptoms. It's that hyperactive part, which doesn't really affect the life of the person with ADHD much. I feel it wouldn't make too much of a difference in ability to function. But anyway, executive dysfunction. The executive part of the mind is the decision-making part of the mind. So executive functioning is the ability to make decisions. Executive dysfunction is an issue in the decision-making ability of your brain, where it's not necessarily an issue making decisions, but acting on those decisions. So, for me, executive dysfunction, and for a lot of people, executive dysfunction looks like the inability to do the things you want to do, even though you want to do them. So to an outsider, it would look the same as laziness or procrastination. You're not doing the thing you're supposed to be doing or said you would be doing. But inside, it is very different. I would literally, when I was at my worst a few years ago, I literally would just be mentally screaming at myself. You know, just get up and do it. Like things I wanted to be doing, like going to the bathroom, showering, getting ice cream, going to dinner, going to class and work. Like, I would be literally just sitting there the whole time. Well, it looks like I'm just scrolling on my phone or looking at my computer, literally just screaming at myself in my head. Just get up and go, come on, just move, do something. But I just couldn't. Like, I couldn't make myself get up and do the thing because there's a chemical imbalance in my brain that keeps me from being able to do things sometimes. So the difference is that like laziness is where you just don't want to, so you don't do it. Whereas with executive dysfunction, you're sitting there being like, why can't I do it? It's so simple. And like actively wanting to do it, and just there's just something that can't in you, you know? So it's extremely debilitating. It makes everything so much harder. Like every single thing you do is an effort. So for how I treat it, there are a myriad of ways that I treat it. The first way is honestly medication. So I don't take a stimulant medication. I have a non-stimulant because I'm not actually diagnosed. So a stimulant would need to be, you can't be prescribed it unless you're diagnosed with ADHD. So I was instead prescribed a non-stimulant by the psychiatrist I see, which it takes a while to work. It builds up in the system, but it really makes such a difference. Like, my ability to function, I can just do it. Not all the time. There are still times where I'm struggling, and medication alone is not enough. It can make things easier, but you still have to put in the work to function. And there are times where I don't do things because of laziness. I'm not saying that I'm never lazy, just that generally the reason why I didn't do things was because of executive dysfunction. So I take a medication, atomoxetine, which I believe the generic name for that is Strattera. Could be wrong on that. Pretty sure that's it though. So I take atomoxetine. Also, another thing, I don't know if this is true for everyone, but definitely for me, my ability to do things is much harder. My executive dysfunction is worse when I'm stressed and anxious. So I have another way I treat my executive dysfunction is actually by treating my anxiety, because when I'm super stressed at something, it's that much harder to actually make myself do it. Whereas when I don't care about something, I can just do it a lot easier. So I have some herbs that I take that help with anxiety and help like calm the mind and body down so I can function better. It's a mix of skullcap, motherwort, blue vervain, skullcap, motherwort, and blue vervain. And those are herbs that work together to help calm me down. I take that twice a day, in the morning and evening, so that I can chill out. And it really makes life so much easier for me, because worrying doesn't change anything, you know? Having anxiety over something isn't going to make it better, and for me it makes it so much worse. So now I can actually make myself work on homework and, you know, take care of myself. So the thing is that like the atomoxetine got me to where I could like take care of myself, base level, eat, drink, put on clothes, go to the bathroom. Like, it got me to that level where I'm functional and taking care of myself. I still struggle with doing my homework and taking, let's see, what was I saying? Doing my homework and other things that are less often, like showering. But the anxiety meds get me down to like here, which is a functional level, so I can do those things. And then the other part of how I cope with it is lifestyle changes and coping mechanisms. And this is critical. You cannot just take drugs and expect yourself to get better, you know? You always have to pair drugs with lifestyle changes or therapy or something. I'm specifically talking about mental drugs, I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of the word. But like drugs for your mind. With that, I am not an expert on drugs and I'm not an expert on drugs for your mind, but I haven't really studied much on drugs for your body. But generally, for like drugs for psychological stuff, you always need to be pairing it with counseling or with CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, or with lifestyle changes, because it's just more work than that, you know? Like, you can't, drugs help with neurotransmitters and like a problem with like chemical levels in the brain, but you still have pathways in the brain that are dysfunctional and coping mechanisms that are dysfunctional and behaviors that are making things worse for you that you need to work on and change so that you can get better. So some of the lifestyle changes that I've made are, first of all, like, and this is things I'm still struggling with. I'm still really struggling with making these lifestyle changes and maintaining them. Part of that is because I'm in school, so I have a whole lot on my plate right now. Like, I've had times where I've done better at these and times where I like continue to struggle with it. So getting enough sleep is crucial. When I'm not getting enough sleep, I'm not functioning. And as soon as I don't get enough sleep, it throws everything off, which makes it harder for me to get enough sleep, because going to bed is also extremely difficult for me as a person with ADHD and that executive functioning issue. So once I don't get enough sleep, it makes it that much harder to get enough sleep that night, so it becomes a cycle. So getting enough sleep is like the number one most important thing I would recommend for someone with ADHD. Like, whatever you have to do, just do it. Get in bed, sleep. Whatever you have to do that other than sleeping will go so much better if you sleep. And it's so hard for me to do that. I'm still really struggling. I'm like 6 weeks into the semester and just now starting to get my sleep under control because I was sick at the beginning of the semester and it was interfering with my sleep cycle. So I'm just now starting to get that under control. Another thing is exercise. So exercise, sorry, I need to get more quercetin. Well, that opened up terribly. Look how it opened up. It's so bad looking. So exercising a healthy amount each day is also crucial for people with ADHD. First of all, it makes it so that your body is tired enough that you can get enough sleep easier at night, because a lot of people with ADHD struggle with getting enough sleep. It also it helps your body with dopamine, because when we exercise, it boosts our mood and our happiness hormones. So ADHD and executive dysfunction basically comes from a chemical imbalance in your brain of things like dopamine, where you really, 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 really are short on it. So your brain doesn't want to do anything that'll take those levels even lower. So any level of work or anything other than immediate pleasure, your brain doesn't want to do that, because it's already critically low on this hormone. It doesn't want to get it even lower. So any level of doing something is scary to it. And so it just won't let you do it. So exercise helps give you those healthy endorphins and happiness hormones that'll help you be able to function more. It also helps with that hyperactivity where you're like, I have to move. It helps with that because it helps tire you out. It helps tire you out so you can sleep that night. And it just generally is good for you. It makes you more fit and capable, and it's great. So I'm not exercising right now. I've been trying to start, but I've been sick, so it's really hard for me to start, because when I get sick, my heart rate spikes, and it can be like sweating so much and exhausting, and then I'm like not sleeping already, so it's this whole thing. I'm hoping to start up again this week, because it really is, I do so much better when I'm exercising. And I like it. It's fun. And I like being capable of doing things, like being strong and able to pick up kids without getting hurt. So exercise, getting enough sleep and exercise are crucial. Um, Another thing, let's see, what was I thinking of? There's also a bunch of coping mechanisms you can use, which, by the way, not just going out and exercise, but like moving. Don't stay in like one place if you can help it. Move around, make sure you're getting outside, because we can like hyper focus and then stay in one place, and that actually, like, I'll get depressed if I stay in one place. And just don't go outside and move and talk to people, which is hard for me to do when I'm having executive dysfunction issues. But basically what I did is, once I got, like, I was already trying to make the lifestyle changes I needed to function, but I couldn't do it without the medications. Like, I went to see a counselor and she was like, well, it sounds like you know what you need to do to function, and the issue is just doing it. And I'm like, yeah, that's the issue, is doing it. I can't make myself do it. So now that I'm on the medications, I can try to make those lifestyle changes that'll help me function even better, and that'll make it, if I ever have to go off my meds or if I run out, I can still function on some level, which has happened, and it's been horrible. I went for 3 days without my meds, and I just like could not sit still in class. It was like painful for me. So it was a great old display of how far I've come, and how different I am with the meds. But some coping mechanisms that I use, the thing about ADHD is that your brain also will get bored of things, so you can't really use one coping mechanism too much, especially when you're at your worst. Like, once you start to get better and like level out your abilities and hormones and stuff, you can make lasting changes. But I keep to-do lists, and those are very important because I will forget things that I need to do if I don't have them. But they can also be a stressor and raise my anxiety levels if they're like too full and complicated. So the anxiety meds also helped with that, but also prioritizing things, like organizing by, okay, this is what is important and I have to get done. This is what's I'd like to get done, but it doesn't need to happen. And this is meh. It'd be nice, not really important. So organizing my to-do list in such a way that they're less stressful for me to look at. I have a whiteboard where I'll like write them out, and the way it looks pretty, and I have the satisfaction of erasing things. I have, I'm making a big old mess, and my hands are all yellow. So having a to-do list helps me remember what I need to do, and then organizing it so that it's not as stressful. I will, like, sometimes when I'm really struggling and I can't make myself engage with something, literally just texting someone like, I don't want to do this. I'm struggling so much to do this. Like, I'll just be able to after that. Like, I don't know why, but like just texting my fiance, man, I really don't want to work on this assignment. It's stressing me out. I can just suddenly start working on it after I talk to him. So having accountability partners and friends who know what's going on with you. Another thing that really helps is deadlines. One thing, so executive dysfunction will keep you from doing on something, and then when you get close to the deadline, the adrenaline will kick in and help you like suddenly actually be able to do the thing. So if you're able to set deadlines, and sometimes my self-imposed deadlines don't work, so maybe talk to your professor and be like, hey, hold me accountable to this deadline, please. And just knowing that someone else is going to know if you don't do it can kick in the adrenaline. Or if I can't make myself eat, I'll like text a friend and be like, hey, let's go meet up and eat. So that way there's someone else, because having another person there can help me be able to function with stuff. Let's see, I'm trying to think of all the different things I do, because it's so ingrained in my way that I do things now. Having set times where you do something, so it's like not a choice, you just do it at this time every single day, can help with that if it just becomes routine and habit. Like every time you get up to go to the bathroom, like you brush your teeth or something in the mornings, like that's a really bad example. Why would you brush your teeth every time? That's a poor example. But something like that where you're reducing the stress. Um, Also, giving yourself a break, like knowing that this is an actual physiological issue. It's not just you being lazy or stupid or dumb. This is something that it's an actual physical imbalance of chemicals in your brain causing this. So, doing what you can to not beat yourself up, forgiving yourself for being unable to do things. Like, sometimes I don't do things I need to do, you know? And just accepting that and moving on. Like, instead of continuing to stress about it and beat myself up and making it continue to be an issue, just being like, okay, I didn't do that. I'll learn from that and try and do different things next time to make it happen. Or making choices about what you are and aren't going to do, like being like, I don't have the executive functioning to do this one assignment because I have 2 assignments. I only have the executive functioning to do one of them. So I'm going to choose this one that matters more and just take the F for this other one because it's not as important and it's only a few points. So trying to reduce your to-do list in that way when you're struggling by like limiting the options. Another thing is like I believe it was from, I can't remember what channel it was. It was from one of those ADHD channels where they talk about how to have ADHD and how to manage it. I'll find the video and put a link in the description. But it's she talked about morning and evening routines and creating your best day, because there's also a thing where you suddenly get a spike in executive functioning, and so you want to do all the things, and then you'll do all the things and you'll wear yourself out so you have no more executive functioning for like the next 3 days. Where on Mondays, generally for me, because I have the rest of the weekend, I'll be like, yeah, I want to do everything, and I'll get so much done, and then I'm exhausted and can't do anything else because I wore out all of the dopamine in my brain. So, like, making sure you're still taking breaks when you feel like doing all the things so that you can function more later. But also, she talked about having morning and evening routines where this is your ideal day. This is the best day ever. You can get so much done, and you do get so much done. This is all the things you want to do to get ready in the morning and evening. And then this is your average day. It's a little less, more reasonable. This is what you can do on your basic day. And then this is the bare minimum I can get done on my bad days. And just knowing that and doing that can help you with functioning so that you're doing the bare minimum you need to take care of yourself when you can only handle the bare minimum. And again, with that grace towards yourself of being like, this is what I'm capable of. I'm doing what I can to take care of myself, and that's all I can do today. You know, tomorrow's a new day, and we'll do something different. So I also have my morning and evening routines written out so that I can do those. Making things fun or doing something at the same time, like doing something where I'm like have a TV show going or playing songs can help raise the dopamine levels in my brain, so I have that going while I also work on my homework can help. Because that your brain wants the dopamine of those distractions, and then it can allow you to do the thing you want to do. I also will make it so that things are as unscary and detailed as possible. So that's why I'm doing my quercetin while I film these, because otherwise I would just put it off. But I need to refill my quercetin each week. So this gives me a time where I can't really put it off. I've paired these together, and it also, instead of adding 30 more minutes of having to function to my day, I've made it so that they're together so that I can just do 30 minutes instead of an hour of functioning with these two things. Especially since I don't really like doing quercetin because it gets all over my hands and it makes a big mess, and I don't like that. So it also makes it so that I do my quercetin at a more reasonable hour, like during the day, because I can't do it while my roommate is asleep, and because I don't want to wake her up with my talking, and I need to have the lights on for the video. So it helps me do both of these things to pair them together. Let's see. There's something else I was thinking of. Can't think of it. But yeah, just writing things out, making it fun, giving yourself a reward. Oh, that's right. I was thinking of timers. Sometimes when I'm really struggling with something, I'll be like, okay, I'm only going to work on this for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then I'm going to take a break and like do something fun. So like setting a 10-minute timer, and then I can make myself work during that 10-minute timer, and then like go back to chilling out, because it can be hard for me, you know. So setting timers helps. Giving yourself a reward. Like when I'm listening to music, sometimes when I hear a song that I really love, I'll just stop what I'm doing and just dance to that song for a while, which helps rejuvenate my brain through getting my muscles moving and blood flowing. It also lets me take a mental break. It's fun. It reduces my anxiety and stress levels over it. So just taking little breaks to do something fun and then getting back to it. There also is, man, I'm trying to think of all the things because there's a bunch of different things, and I'm not doing them. I never do them all at once. I have to take, it's whatever will work in the moment. So sometimes I have more energy at the end of the day than the beginning of the day. So like I'll rest in the morning, and letting myself actually rest, which is critical, because if I'm just scrolling on my phone, and which is relaxing, but I'm spending the whole time being stressed and mad at myself for not doing things, I'm not actually relaxing. So the relaxing is not going to rejuvenate me, so I'm able to do it later. So when I'm resting, giving myself permission to actually rest and be like, I'm not working on it right now. I'm going to spend this time doing this, and in like 30 minutes, I'll get going on it. So I can actually enjoy the thing I'm doing and actually rest and relax so that I can do the thing I need to do later is critical. Another thing is that screens are the death of me because they are designed to keep you on them. Social media is designed to keep you on them. It is a quick and easy dopamine fix that does not really help your body get what it needs to get back up to the levels of functioning. It can make you feel terrible because of, comparing yourself to other people or seeing what's on the news. So reducing my time on screens is crucial for me to actually function. Like when my phone broke a few weeks ago, and I didn't have a phone for that week, I did so good. I did so good with my ADHD and being able to manage things and getting things done because I couldn't just get on the phone and then not be able to get off it again. Because sometimes when I get on social media, I can't unstick myself from it because my brain wants the quick and easy dopamine fix, and so it doesn't let me get off it again. It can be so hard. In fact, I actually wrote a really angsty poem named Scrolling about it when I was at one of my worst summers here. I was really struggling, not doing well, like all day long just on my phone and not taking care of myself. So trying to get off my phone as much as possible and do things in real life that help me is critical. Like doing hobbies like crocheting and knitting and writing on paper and taking walks are so restful and helpful in actually functioning, whereas scrolling on my phone for 10 minutes, like, it's going to be longer than 10 minutes. So getting off my phone is super helpful. And yeah, like, just so basically I'd say the most important things for ADHD are getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise, um, eating foods that make you feel good, like feel healthy. So foods that make you feel weighed down and gross and bad. It's also can be because with ADHD, your brain is constantly seeking that dopamine, so it's super easy to overeat or not eat because you can't get the executive function up to go. Um, Binge eating is unfortunately a huge part of ADHD. And I've struggled with that in the past just because it's right there, and so I can't stop myself eating it because I'm stressed, and I need the dopamine. So eating healthy, and then making tasks as simple as possible, letting yourself actually rest when you're not able to function instead of being critical of yourself and feeling guilty the whole time. Stuff like that, like you having friends who are going to help you, talking to them honestly and being like, hey, I'm really struggling with this, can you come over in 30 minutes and like just sit with me while I do this thing? Or like having teachers hold you accountable or friends hold you accountable so you can get that anxiety going when you really need to get something done but you just can't make yourself work on it. Setting deadlines, because for open-ended projects you just don't do it, okay? Like you're like, I'll do it later, and then you never do. So setting deadlines so that you can't just keep pushing something back and not doing it. Things like that are like so important. So yeah, and just knowing that progress isn't linear. And even with things like medications, you still need to make changes. Even when you're doing super well, knowing that you're going to do poorly again and trying to set yourself up to do well later. Like for me, when I'm doing well, I try to clean my room and do my dishes because I know that when I have a super busy environment that looks super gross and cluttered and whatever, it makes it harder for me to function. So I clean when I'm doing well and try to, instead of like throwing things on the floor, put them away right away, because I know that that'll help me to uh, function better, because so that it doesn't get messy so I can't work later. Also, listen to other people's ideas. The way I came up with a lot of this stuff and functional coping mechanisms has been through listening to other people who have ADHD and seeing what they're doing. Because another thing with ADHD is that it's really hard to do things over and over again the same way. So trying new things at different times when you're stressed and keeping those ideas in your head so you can try out different things later is really important. But yeah, I'd say things like that have been really helpful for me. Every person is different, of course, but that's what's been helped me cope with my executive dysfunction. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Caitlin Tull 4608, something like that. I'm sorry, I don't remember the numbers. 63 something. Oh. But yeah. Another thing I wanted to quickly talk about today is I am starting a new project, a new challenge. I've been watching Ryan Trahan, is that his name? Ryan Trahan, and his penny challenge. I watched all of the ones he did, but I started with his latest penny challenge where he crossed the country starting only with a single penny, and all food, shelter, transportation had to come from profits from that penny, and just it was phenomenal, let me tell you. But I was inspired. I'm not going to be doing that because I'm in school and not functional at times, but I want to do something like that. I'm starting today. I'm calling it the Penny Project because it's different than his. I have different rules for myself. Uh, but I am going to every week start with a penny, and I can't spend any of the other money I have in my bank account or in cash or whatever from before that week. I have to start with just a penny. And if I want to spend any money that week, I have to either earn it through things I already own or through something I get from the penny, like profits from the penny. So I'm doing this because I am very short on cash at the moment, and I want to make sure that I'm not just spending all the money I have, because I have a honeymoon coming up in a few months. I'd like to have cash for that. I also want to be able to do fun things, but I don't want to just go willy-nilly and spend my cash, because another thing that I struggle with is my brain wants dopamine. So it'll try to get that dopamine sometimes through buying things, like buying foods all the time. So my room and board are already paid for. I paid for that ahead of time. So on my bad days where I can't make myself make money, or I haven't made enough money to buy the thing I want to buy, I just won't spend money. And that'll be a way of protecting the money that I've earned from my bad dopamine days. It'll also allow me to save money for my honeymoon. I think it'll be fun. And also with ADHD, you tend to be like, ooh, new hobby. And so you spend a bunch of money on the new hobby, and then you hyperfixated on it for a few days or a week, and then you're like, ooh, new hobby, and drop that hobby and spend money on a new hobby. So that'll also be my way of making myself not just spend a bunch of money on a new thing and not using the old things. So using things I already own to try and make money instead of coming up with all these grand schemes and continually spending money on grand schemes that I never follow through with. I don't anticipate I'll make a whole lot of money with this. I have a few money making methods in mind already, but we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna try it out for a week, starting today. I'm trying it out for this week, and then I'll take a week off, evaluate how things went and what changes I need to make, what changes to the rules, and then I'd like to start May 1st and do it possibly until my wedding, which is June 22nd. We'll see how it goes and if I decide to actually do it that long. But again, I can't really edit videos right now because I'm so busy. I have so much to do, what with schoolwork and work and the wedding. But for this week at least, I think I'm gonna do updates through shorts and just let y'all know how I'm doing, and then filming more than just those shorts, and filming the May 1st through graduation thing, and then making a video about it later so that you guys do get to see how it went and stuff. But I can't do it right now. I just don't have the executive functioning to do it right now. I already have so many things I'm trying to do. I have so much homework due in the next 2 days, man. C's get degrees, so I'm really hoping I just get a C in this test I have tomorrow, because oh boy, it's a worrisome one. But yeah, so that's gonna be super fun. I have some ideas already. I will update you guys, but keep an eye out for those shorts. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So let's see, is there anything else I want to talk about? Oh, I had my first week where I was able to go to work every day this last week without having to call in sick because I threw up or had diarrhea or a fever. So that was great. It's been 6 weeks where I've missed work every single week because of an illness. It's actually been 7 weeks. So starting to finally get healthy with that, which is great. I've been really struggling for a while with that. It's been several months that I've been sick, even if I wasn't calling out work for all those weeks, which I really hate. I really truly believe that when you're sick, you should call in to work and not go so you don't get other people sick. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. It's not set up for that. So I just try to do what I can to minimize the spread of illness from me and to minimize me getting sick from other people. But it's so hard. But yeah, that's super fun. Pretty happy about that. Hopefully I can continue on with this next week. All right. All done that quercetin powder. I love how neat it looks when I'm done. I don't need to transfer that over. Another coping mechanism I didn't mention is like on tasks that are really hard for you to do, try to find a way that makes it easier. So like food prep, if you hate the touch of feel of raw meat, buy gloves. If you know you're not going to be able to clean your cups and wash your dishes, buy paper dishes and plastic dishes. Do what you can to reduce your workload so that you don't have to function as much on your bad days. And on your good days, do the more things. But on your bad days, use paper plates, do dishes with gloves on them, or just rinse them off and leave them for another day. Do what you can to reduce your workload when you're doing poorly so you can rest and recuperate and do well another day. But that's all I have, I think, today. So just remember that it doesn't matter who you are, what illnesses or mental illnesses you have, what you've done, what you've said, what you believe. You as a person matters so much, and there is nothing in all of creation that can take that away from you. You will always have value. Every single person has value. So try to do something for yourself this week. Just give yourself forgiveness and remember there is someone who loves you. All right? Bye.